So 1999, what a big year for Stevie Van Zandt. Before rejoining Bruce, he lands a role in The Sopranos. This all comes from his induction speech at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. Another great story. Talk about this. And then how the role of Sylvio Dante wasn't even planned.
Yeah, so Steven has talked about this a lot that yeah, he's retired or he's what he thinks is retired, where he's not doing anything, and then all of a sudden he gets two huge job offers at the same time. Like why did that have to happen at the same time? But it did, and they made it work. So Steven's at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's doing this funny induction speech for the Rascals, who are Italian New Jersey rock band or kind of pop rock group who had some hits in the mid 60s. Great band. They've got some great songs. And he was funny, and he was, kind of being a wise guy. And David Chase, the creator of Sopranos, who at that time is still just putting his project together, happened to be watching it, and he sees this guy being a wise guy and being real funny, and so he reaches out to Steven. So even though there wasn't a part for Steven, and Steven's not an actor, he'd never really done any acting before. Although I busted him on that because I'd found out that he did do some school plays in high school
Ah, okay.
that he didn't really remember. Um, so he auditioned for Sopranos, and he got the gig. So around the same time, Bruce says he's putting together the E Street Band, and he wants it to include Steven as well as the two people who replaced him when he left in '84, which is Neil Slofgren and Patty Scialfa. So it's going to be a different version of the E Street Band, but kind of bringing together a couple different eras. So Steven had to kind of arrange. They would do a thing where if he's on tour somewhere and he has to fly, to LA, or I guess they actually did filming in New Jersey, like right after a concert, do a bunch of scenes, and then fly out the next day to be at the next show. And he was living that kind of lifestyle for a while.
He tried out for Tony Soprano, that role, didn't he?
That's what they say, and that just shows how early in the process it was that none of the characters were really all that fleshed out. So he did audition for this Tony Soprano role. I don't know what that role was like at that time. It might have been pretty different than what it became once James Gandolfini got involved. I kind of would just think that it would have to. So it was probably a little different, but he went for it, and HBO were just not comfortable with the idea of a non-actor being the main guy in a gangster show. So they created a new role for him, which was, yeah, Silvio Dante. Steven had the name, and so they make this nightclub owner kind of new character, and he's Tony's second in command, which is a role that Steven, knows really well from being with Bruce for
Right.
so long, you know. And that's kind of the funny thing about it, that he ends up being like the number two in charge, whereas that's what he did
Right.
in
Yeah.
in in real life.